The Detroit Tigers get swept in New York. Let's talk about it all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Monday, May 6th, 2024. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go, the fast-paced game that lets you team up with your friends for tournaments to unlock awesome prizes like unique stickers for trading, cool playing pieces, and hilarious emojis for taunting your friends. So download Monopoly Go now for free in Google Play or the App Store. Game on. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. A lot of fun hockey and basketball this weekend. A lot of baseball being played as well. Unfortunately, if you had a great weekend, it was not due to the play by your Detroit Tigers, who get swept in the Bronx. They drop all three games in this weekend series. Sunday's game, obviously only 8 innings. Rain was pouring. We'll talk about that a little bit later on at the end of the show, but did not play the 9th inning. Don't think it really would have mattered too terribly much with how the Tigers offense looked this weekend. The Cats are now 18-16 on the season. Getting swept anywhere is just so killer, right? And we talked about it going into the weekend. You know, if you're down 2 games, having Skubal go in game 3 is such a good feeling. And even he could not, with a tied for a career high in strikeouts, could not will the Tigers to victory on Sunday. We knew this was going to be a really tough 6-game stretch. This is obviously a very rough start to said 6-game stretch. But the offense, which has been a concern all year, this is a just broken record type of conversation for us here as a show that is every single day. It's banging our heads against the wall with this conversation that the offense continues to just be dreadful. So we obviously start with what went wrong on a weekend in which the Tigers get swept. We're not going to bury the lead here. The offense, like I just said, dreadful. The bottom half of your lineup on Sunday, okay, 5 through 9 were Jake Rogers, Spencer Torkelson, Colt Keith, Javi Baez, Parker Meadows. Okay, that is, like I said, your 5 through 9 in the lineup. Their OPSs, 531, 587, 399, 471, 439. Their batting averages, for those who don't like OPS, which I apologize. I had a couple of listeners say they wanted me to bring up some other stats besides OPS at times as well. Batting average, 179, 216, 152, 177, 097. I don't care what number you like to look at, what offensive metric you care about. We have said it a million times. This team will not, under any circumstance, keep its head above water if the offense does not turn it around. That is a remarkably terrible 5 through 9 in a lineup, especially considering this team is over 500, which is more and more as every day goes by looking like some sort of a small miracle. You have, we can just list the players off. You have Zach McKinstry, Colt Keith, Parker Meadows, Spencer Torkelson that are all just absolutely struggling mightily out there at the plate. And then you also have Javi Baez and Jake Rogers and Carson Kelly, who are struggling at the plate and not producing very much. The difference with those three is they're absolutely not going anywhere. Rogers and Kelly, that's going to be the catching tandem unless an injury pops up for the foreseeable future. And look, if we get into June, if we're another month into this thing, and both of them have OPSs that are like below 550, then maybe it's time to give a call to Dylan Dingler, but that's not happening anytime soon. It's not. We can just cut that right now. It's not happening in the next like couple of days or weeks. And Javi is also not going anywhere anytime soon. I think that conversation may get hotter and hotter as the year goes along, as we've talked about a lot. In May, not happening, not going anywhere, whether we like it or not, which we don't. But that's the reality that we live in. The first four that I mentioned, at least there is some conversation surrounding like a roster move being able to be made to replace them. The team went 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position this weekend. And like that's what bad offenses do. They don't produce with runners in scoring position. Look, and we talk a lot about players that can, again, like be sent down and like who to call up, and we can have that conversation. We might even have it this week, right? We have an off day on Thursday, so Friday's episode, maybe we even have that conversation. But they're not going to send down or just like remove like 6 or 7 players of 5 weeks into the season, right? The fact of the matter is we need adjustments to be made. The players you actually have on the roster need to be better. There's no amount of minor league players that we can call up that is going to right this ship offensively at the major league level. And like, what kind of adjustments are going to be made? Zach McKinstry, I think it's very unlikely that he's going to provide anything offensively that we haven't seen, anything different than what we've seen already at the plate. We have talked about and documented his struggles and what, why he struggles at the plate in absolute depth over the last year. And I don't see that changing. Colt Keith, eventually, I still believe in Colt Keith, the player. We're a month into his major league career. But when is a legitimate question. And is it worth keeping him up here at this point? Parker Meadows, I sure as heck hope that he's going to make some adjustments and figure it out, because he could be so valuable if he was even a slightly below average, even a like 10% below average major league hitter. But he has 2 giant holes in his strike zone and he's batting under 100. Torkelson looks absolutely lost. There's not even any analysis here. He's late on every fastball. Is that what you want me to like? That's true. He gets throwing fastballs down the middle every single at bat and is laid on all of them. It looks like he's guessing at times. Javi is what he is. Nothing's changing there. Rogers has been hitting better the last week and a half. Also isn't going anywhere. Also kind of is what he is. Big uppercut swing, high strikeout, power type of hitter. So again, like you can DFA Zach McKinstry, you can send down Colt Keith, you can send down Parker Meadows, you can do all of that stuff, right? But no amount of like AAA or 4A players is going to make this offense magically not awful if the actual major league players on the team do not just step up. That is the fix. No amount of roster moves is digging us out of this. The players that are on the roster have to be better. Have to. That is an absurd bottom half of the lineup. We talked Spencer Torkelson in that, little tirade there. He was the talk of the town this weekend, partially just because of a lot of, I know Castellani did a video and a lot of kind of the talking heads of the Tigers organization were talking about him. But the reason why was because A, he's been really brutal at the plate, and B, AJ Hinch talked about him, right? AJ said, slightly paraphrasing here, I don't have the exact word for word quote in front of me, but essentially said that he's going to keep moving down the lineup. And then if he continues to struggle, he's going to be on the bench sitting next to me. And hearing that level of just brutal honesty, I absolutely love it. Good. Awesome. Do it with everyone, right? This is wild. We're 5 weeks in and half the lineup, more than half the lineup on Sunday had an OPS under 600. It's about time we start being a little bit more honest about the level of production we're getting from certain players. I think that's good. I have zero issue with the quote. And I think everybody nobody in the fan base was like, "Oh, like that's ridiculous. You can't say that." Everybody was like, "Yeah, we agree." Let's keep the ball rolling. Got a few more things to talk about with Torkelson. Again, we're going to keep talking about things that went wrong this weekend. There's a pretty long list in a sweep, so we will do all of that right after this. Going to talk to y'all today about our friends over at LinkedIn. Are you struggling to close deals? Well, business to business selling is tougher than ever. And that's why I want to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a sales intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high value customers, drive higher revenue, and increase sales performance. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals such as job changes or which accounts you should prioritize, and shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are most likely to convert. Fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform, Sales Navigator gives you the most up to date first party data, enabling you to unlock conversations with people that matter. So, right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial as well at linkedin.com/locked on. That's linkedin.com/locked on for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/locked on to get started. Also, going to tell y'all about our friends over at Monopoly Go. We got to pause here, take a minute to truly break down all of the great features here on Monopoly Go. I know we talked a little bit about it earlier, but there's so many awesome features. You can team up with your friends for timed tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock. And there's so much to get. Unique stickers that you can trade with your friend and complete albums for even bigger prizes. Cool new games as well, playing pieces, boards, etc. Hilarious emojis to taunt your friends. It also feels new and exciting every day because they are constantly changing tournaments and challenges to keep the game fresh and interesting. A ton include their own unique mini games that are super fun, like digging for treasure as well. There's always new timed events that help you win big. There's always something fun to discover at Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it for free in Google Play or the App Store. Game on. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2 of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate you all greatly for tuning in as always. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in. Every day, we will be back tomorrow recapping game 1 against the Cleveland Guardians and talking about anything else going on throughout this organization. We'll talk a little bit more later about some fun stuff that's happening this week, believe it or not. You wouldn't know it based on what happened on the field. Also, be sure to check out Locked On Sports Today, as always, the free 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube or for free in the Amazon Fire TV channels app. Talking a lot about Torkelson there before the break. Had 2 doubles on Sunday. The first one I actually thought was a really good and solid at bat. I liked the approach there. He actually looks like he knew what was coming in. He knew what he wanted to do damage on. He got a pitch over the heart of the plate and turned on it. I legitimately thought that was a good at bat. The other one, I mean, I'll take it. I'm not going to complain about results from him at this point. But like he's been grounding out to the left side of the infield all season, and I think that one just like got through. But I'll gladly take 2 doubles. He remarkably is leading the American League in doubles. Baseball is such a funny game. The beautiful game. But yeah, I still think he looked absolutely lost on Friday and Saturday. So we'll keep an eye on that. But he's going to keep moving down in the lineup, especially against righties. It looks like he's going to be maybe hitting like bottom 3 in the lineup until he either turns it around or finds himself on the bench. And I guess if you get to the point where you're benching him, as a coaching staff or an organization or whatever, you might as well just send him down at that point. And I have been very, very keen on like he needs to time up major league hitting. I don't think that there's a ton that AAA is going to help him with. But at the same time, you're trying to win ball games. This is not some team that's in, year 2 of a rebuild where we're okay just like tanking and losing 100. You're trying to win. And if he is struggling as much as he is down the road, I guess my point is you're really caught between a rock and a hard place, man. It's really tough. So we'll keep an eye on that situation. Other things that went wrong over the weekend: Jason Foley on Friday, 0+ innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, no Ks. His velo's been down, which I don't think is necessarily concerning, but it's not great either. Like, he's been sitting 96, 97 pretty consistently his last 4 or 5 outings. First 2 weeks of the season, the dude was pumping 99, 100, 101. And this is like the Foley flaw that I had brought up in the preseason, right? Like, he's not a swing and miss guy. And I think he's an unbelievably valuable reliever. I think he's the best reliever on this team. Okay. Not saying any of that's not true. I'm this dude's biggest fan, right? I love Jason Foley. But as far as like a high leverage closer, I still think in a perfect world, you're getting a guy back there that gets a lot more swings and misses consistently. So we'll see what happens there. But I think as it stands right now, he's still got to be the highest leverage reliever. Speaking of leverage relievers, Shelby Miller, I am pretty done with in high leverage, to be completely honest with you. And I adamantly disagreed with AJ going to him in high leverage this weekend twice. And Sunday we'll talk about a little bit later. Like, Sunday is really hard to even fault too many players just because of the ridiculous conditions they were playing in. But so like I acknowledge that being a factor, but his fastball command has been really rough this year, and the numbers against it haven't been terrible. Like, his numbers against his fastball haven't been bad. But the first couple of weeks of the season, we talked about a lot on here, how he was getting somewhat, I don't like using the word lucky in professional sports, but like, for lack of a better term, lucky. Like, he was throwing a lot of fastballs middle, right? You go watch those White Sox outings. He had a lot of middle cut fastballs that were just popped out or swung and missed on straight up on Friday in this series. He had a couple of those. So I think also, like, his usage, his pitching repertoire is weird to me. Like, he's throwing the splitter pretty comfortably less than he was last season, and it hasn't been great even when he has thrown it. But like, he's throwing it like 5% fewer than he did a year ago, and that was a pitch that made him so effective last year. I don't know. I'm going to keep an eye on his situational usage, like his deployment, to use a hockey term, going forward, because I would not pitch him in high leverage for the foreseeable future, if we're being completely honest. Not that he's like terrible or like needs to get, cut today or anything, but like, as far as high leverage and low leverage, there's a solid amount of dudes I trust in high leverage more than Shelby Miller at this moment. The strike zone on Saturday was terrible. Oh my goodness. Sunday wasn't great either, but golly, low and away to righties, well, low and away to actually both handedness, but specifically righties, was just awful. I tweeted this out. If at some point as an umpire, you have to realize, like, oh my goodness, every pitcher for both teams is only throwing it in one spot. Huh? How weird. Like, how does that never cross your mind? How is that never something that, whatever? The challenge system is coming. It's already in the highest level of the minors. It's going to be here within the next year or two. And I welcome the challenge system. I don't want full automation. I really kind of dug my heels in on that. I love framing and I love catcher value far too much for that. Too old school in the catching department for pure automation. But the challenge system is going to come, and I think at this point most people welcome it. Let's talk about what went right this weekend, because this was, while it was a sweep, they had a chance to win 2 of these 3 ball games, I think, at like decently critical later points in the ball game. Obviously, Friday they were winning going into the bottom of the 9th, and on Sunday they were tied going into the bottom of the 7th. So this wasn't a complete, oh, you just got blown off the field 3 straight games. They had a chance to win and fell short, and I think that kind of even makes it more frustrating. We'll talk about what went right and then our favorite segment stuff, all after this. Going to talk to y'all today about our friends over at Yahoo Finance. When it comes to your financial future, you think you've done it all. You've saved, you've researched, you've invested all that you can, and now you need to take those investments to the next level by using what every financial great uses, Yahoo Finance. For more than 25 years, Yahoo Finance has been the brand behind every great investor. Whether you're a seasoned investor or looking for that extra guidance, Yahoo Finance gives you all the tools and data you need in one place. They're the number one finance destination, producing a holistic look at the financial news cycle, including breaking news, original editorial perspectives, analyst ratings, independent research, customizable charts, and so much more. You can also securely link your brokerage accounts for a unified view of your wealth, including 401k and other investments. A comprehensive perspective is what sets apart great investors, and it's how Yahoo Finance ensures you have the insight to look at your wealth in its entirety. Over 90 million users each month. Their real strength is genuinely helping you on your way to financial success. So, for comprehensive financial news and analysis, visit the brand behind every great investor, yahoofinance.com. The number one financial destination, yahoofinance.com. That's yahoofinance.com. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Third and final segment of Locked On Tigers. We're going to talk about what went right this weekend. It's not a super long list, and then we'll get into stuff, which is honestly probably longer than what went right. We'll spend a couple of seconds probably just talking about the Guardians series as well. Riley Green this weekend was fantastic. Pretty much the only person on offense that showed up. And he had a 3 strikeout game on Sunday. Kind of got blown away by fastballs up and in, which is not something that we are used to this season from him. He was pretty visibly upset at it as well. But I mean, given what the rest of the team, provided offensively throughout the weekend, I'm not going to fault him for one bad game. Clearly the best offensive weapon at the plate this team has to offer. OPS in the mid 900s. Needs literally anyone to step up with him at this point. Literally anyone. He made an adjustment, I think, in his laying off spin low and away was something that early in the season and kind of at times last year he struggled with, and I think that's been a big factor for his success. The uptick in walks, all that great stuff. His swing path, his bat path is just so beautiful, man. Like you talk about a swing that I know kind of it maybe looks like finicky or kind of funky at times, but that is a beautiful bat path. Beautiful. And he's legit. And that's good that we at least have one of those. Tarek Skubal, 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, and 12 strikeouts. I don't have too much to say about this, to be honest. The changeup was elite. 12 whiffs on his changeup alone. The movement was unreal. The ball literally just dies. Like, it just falls off a table right at the bottom of the zone. He has a 1.9 ERA on the season even with the 2 earned runs added on Sunday. And the 12 strikeouts, I think they said ties a career high, either ties or sets a career high for him. Absolutely fantastic. Don't have too much else to add. This is your Cy Young candidate. This is your true ace. And you know how tough it is to get kind of punched in the mouth early and then tie a career high in strikeouts still? He's remarkable. And if this offense was even remotely competent, they would have continued the undefeated streak that he's had this season. Reese Olson, I think, went really well this weekend as well. 5 innings, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Fastball update this outing: between 4-seamer and sinker combined, 1 total swing and miss. Didn't think it was very effective. However, this is still obviously something that went very right. The sequencing was amazing. I loved what he did with his approach, especially with how he attacked lefties. That's tough. When your best pitch is a slider, you don't have a super effective fastball, and you're a righty pitching to a lefty, that's generally not a recipe for success. And yet I loved how he approached every hitter on Friday. I also love same-handed changeups. Righty changeups are beautiful, and they're tough to perfect. And he had a couple of them. Just a great day at the office. I really like what he has provided to the team. He has, as Chris Brown of Motor City Metrics pointed out, the fewest amount of run support in the entire game of baseball. And that is why he finds himself, 0 for 4 now, I believe, despite the fact that he has an ERA of what? Is it sub 3 now? Let me pull this up really quickly. It's got to be around 3. 2.7. Wow. Okay, we're moving on. Alex Faedo on Friday, 1 1/3, no hits, no runs, one walk, four strikeouts. Fastball command was honestly not very awesome. A lot of center cut fastballs there, but anytime you record 4 outs with 4 strikeouts against the heart of the Yankees lineup, I'm going to give you a shout out. So, yeah, I thought he set up the fastballs well, which is probably why they were still successful, right? It was kind of dancing down in the zone. Some same handed changeups for him as well. But yeah, need to work on the command a little bit, but still a great outing. Obviously, really kind of an FU type of outing, which I really like. Let's talk stuff. Everybody's favorite, uh, what's the word? Segment. My goodness, this team stresses me, and I'm sure all of you out. Weather conditions on Sunday were brutal. They really made it a point. They're like, we're going to get in a ball game here, and that's with the scheduling. Our broadcast did a great job talking about that, so I don't really have to too much. But with the how the scheduling works now, um, you kind of have to tough out those rainy games a little bit more than you used to because you may not come back to Yankee Stadium the rest of the year. And so that's what they did. And I think it's ridiculous. I don't think any pitcher could grip the ball. That's why I'm not taking too much offense with what anybody did on the mound necessarily. But especially if it's an outlier type of performance. But tough day at the office for everybody there on Sunday for a lot of reasons. And I'm sure, going back into the clubhouse, soaking wet after getting pounded with rain for, 2.5 hours isn't going to make anyone feel better either. That seventh inning was like 35. Bottom of the seventh alone was like 30, 35 minutes long. Gio Urshela nearing a return. He's with the team on this road trip. I'm hoping that means there's a chance he's back in this Guardians series. We've talked a lot over the last week about who could be sent down. It could be anybody, man. We're we're a week into May almost, and we still, again, we don't need to rehash it, but like it could be anyone. Like legitimately, you're like, oh, like it's not going to be Torkelson. I'll tell you that. Just to kind of nip that in the bud. I hate to be the bearer of bad news to some of you. If you're really hoping it is, it's not going to be. At least for Shella right now. But it could be Keith, it could be Meadows, it could be McKinstry getting DFA'd. It could be any of those three, and it really I don't think it should be Winseal Perez. I'll say that. I think that he should stay. He was obviously who they called up when Urshela got hurt. But yeah, it's not going to be Torek, and it could be any of those three, and it wouldn't shock me. Winseal Perez out of the lineup on Sunday, scratched late because he was feeling under the weather, got sick. So hopefully that is something that's just a short 24-hour thing because we could really use a guy who's been not sadly because of him, sadly because of the rest of the team, one of our better hitters so far this season. What else? Cleveland, you got to bounce back here. They're 22-12. We'll preview them, talk about the pitching matchups here in a second. They're also calling up Kyle Manzardo because, of course, they are. Really great season down in AAA. I really like him as a prospect. For people that play MLB The Show, he's a very popular Diamond Dynasty player as well. So that's how a lot of people already know about him. But yeah, great hitter, great pure hitter. And looks like he's going to debut against the Detroit Tigers. So surely he won't absolutely go off. What else? The Twins finally lost. They snapped their 12-game winning streak to catapult them back to, towards the top of the American League Central that currently still has 4 teams over 500 there. The Twins and Royals, now tied and with 2.5 games back from Cleveland, who took 2 of 3 from the Angels this weekend, who are terrible. Luis Arias to the Padres. Wowzers. That's kind of crazy, right? That's wild. I guess we'll see what happens there. The Padres are just absolutely nuts, and I love it. Going out and trading for pretty prominent bat. Not that Arias is a world beater, but certainly is an all-time bat to ball contact hitter. Going out and getting him kind of before the market was set this early on in the season is not only a testament to the Padres and how they want to get better and whatnot, but also a testament to how awful the Marlins are aware that they are. This isn't like, oh, it's a slow start. Let's see if we turn it around. They're like, yeah, we suck. Here's our best hitter. So Tough, tough, tough. Also, Locked On Marlins is a fantastic show, by the way. Is that it? Oh, City Connect. We'll end there, and then again, we'll preview the Guardians a little bit here. Being revealed today as you're listening to this. If you're listening on Monday, May 6th at 10 a.m. Eastern time, you are going to get the City Connect jerseys for the Detroit Tigers. I am super pumped. I hope they don't suck. If they do, we'll talk about it. If they don't, we'll talk about it. We're going to talk about it no matter what tomorrow, I'm sure, in the stuff section of the show. I believe, do they wear them at the end of this week? I think I know they get rolled out like throughout the week. Yeah, we have a home series this weekend against the Astros. I believe that is when they are going to take a look at. We'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll have all of the details tomorrow, but I think they're wearing it pretty soon here. But this is City Connect week, so yeah, it'll be super. Hopefully cool. Hopefully that's fun. I hope. Please don't be bad. Please just don't be terrible. And I know there's part of the fan base that's just going to think it's bad no matter what, because the Tigers jerseys really are beautiful and iconic and great. But like they're not going to wear these all the time. It's going to be an alternate that they wear sometimes. I hope it's cool and it truly does pay homage to this beautiful and fantastic city that I love dearly. So we'll see, but we'll talk about it. Like I said, tomorrow. I think that's pretty much it. We play the Guardians starting tonight, 3-game set, 2 6:00 starts and a 1:00 start. You have Flaherty, excuse me, pronounce the H really heavy there, like I did in his introductory episode. You have Flaherty versus Tristan McKenzie. You have Maeda versus Logan Allen, and you have Reese Olson versus Tanner Bybee. 3 guys who are really good pitchers, but haven't had fantastic seasons. All of their ERAs are over 4. The Guardians are doing this weird thing where they're winning games. They're in first place in the Central, obviously. Their offense has just exploded out of nowhere. No one saw it coming. I expected them to be better than most people, but that was mostly because I expected them to kind of look how we've looked, right? Like really good pitching, really good bullpen, one of the best closers in baseball, and good enough offense to kind of get them over the hump. I mean, Josh Naylor has turned into legitimately one of the best hitters on the planet so far this season. He has been absolutely unbelievable. Like, legitimately has been one of the best hitters in ball. Andres Jimenez, they've got obviously J Ram, Tiger Killer. They have gotten a lot of good offensive production from a lot of players. So they are scoring more than we thought, but the pitching hasn't been as good necessarily as we thought, but they obviously still have a lot of talent. And I'm sure as I say that, now all 3 of them will like get back on track and absolutely shove against us, because that is how the season has gone. Okay, we're going to end on positive vibes here. Look, we're still 2 games over 500, right? And this was one series. One series in May does not make or break the entire season. The season is not over. This team is not losing, 110 games. They're not going to be one of the worst teams in baseball. They just have to figure out how to get more offensive production from the players that are actually on the roster. Again, later this week, we'll talk plenty about potential roster moves. I agree. Something needs to be done. I'm not saying that's wrong, but I am saying that there is no amount of moves you can make mid-season, demotion and promotion, whatever, to fix what's going on if the guys that are actually here don't start hitting. Okay. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day, and we will be back tomorrow talking City Connect and obviously talking about Game 1 against Cleveland. Let's not go on a 4-game losing streak. Let's get back in the win column and still find ourselves 3 games over 500 in May. All right? Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. I love y'all. I appreciate you all greatly. Let's go win a ball game, please. I'll catch y'all tomorrow. What do I usually say? Go Tigers.